They cried about your age last night. Not because the number scares them, but because time exposes things people try hard not to see. Age doesn't just count years, it counts excuses that expired, chance that didn't wait, and potential that refused to disappear quietly. While you were living your days, growing without permission, becoming heavier with experience, someone else was lying awake realizing the clock doesn't negotiate. Age is a mirror people refuse to look into. They see numbers and immediately think of decline, of fragility, of things slipping away. They assume that each year should subtract, that time should weaken, that experience should soften edges until nothing sharp remains. But that's a story made for comfort, for people too afraid to confront what growing older really does. Age doesn't just measure years, it measures resistance. It measures the ability to endure when everything around you insists. You should have given up, given in, faded into the background. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every scar is proof that time didn't claim you, that the world's pressure didn't flatten you, that the nights you survived alone built something inside you that can't be erased by anything external. People fear that reflection because it's a truth they haven't earned, a resilience they haven't built, a presence they can't replicate. When they cried about your age last night, it wasn't sorrow or envy in the innocent sense. It was panic. Panic that they'd been living under illusions about the passage of time. Panic that the years they thought would make everyone else lower, weaker, more predictable had only sharpened you. They realized in the quiet, in their own private moments, that the very thing they expected to diminish you had transformed you into someone inevitable. Age becomes terrifying when it's not a limitation but an amplifier. It doesn't subtract. It multiplies experience, insight, stamina, and the quiet ability to move in ways the unprepared can't understand. Every step you take is weighted by lessons survived, by moments endured without applause, by battle fought while no one watched. Most people misunderstand age because they confuse it with routine. They see repetition and predictability and assume that's all it can produce. They think the years are a countdown rather than a building process. But the chosen see differently. They recognize that every day lived fully, every challenge met instead of ignored, every discomfort faced without retreat, compounds. Age accumulates power. It accumulates wisdom. It accumulates a silent kind of influence that no one gives you credit for until it's too late to dismiss. That accumulation terrifies observers because it doesn't need permission. It doesn't ask for approval. It doesn't wait for validation. It just exists, quietly undeniable. They cried because your age tells a story they've refused to write. The story of endurance, of preparation, of refusing to let time dictate weakness. They see the contrast between their imagined limitations and your lived reality. They see that while they were calculating how old they would be before they could try, you were already moving, already building, already becoming something unstoppable. And that reflection is uncomfortable because it forces them to confront their own failures to act, their own compromise with fear, their own surrender to the illusion that time is an enemy rather than an ally. If used wisely, age isn't passive. It's a canvas painted with choices. Every year adds strokes of action or inaction, courage or avoidance, honesty or self-deception. People cry because they see your canvas and realize theirs is incomplete, messy, uninspired. They see a version of possibility they cannot reach without confronting the years that wasted hiding from responsibility, ignoring pressure, or seeking comfort over growth. And that realization, quiet as it may be, is violent to someone who built their identity around being younger, faster, less accountable, more sheltered. What they call envy is really fear. Fear that time doesn't follow the script they wrote in their minds. Fear that the metrics they assumed would protect them, youth, chance, external validation, aren't real ones. The real metric is how you use each moment, each year, each trial. And you've used them in ways that make your age not a burden, but a weapon, a shield, a signal that you've survived and learned and adapted. That signal terrifies them because it reminds them that time is impartial, that opportunity doesn't wait for excuses, that life rewards those who endure instead of those who merely endure superficially. They cried because age exposes truth. It shows what is real, what is earned, what is inevitable. And your age carries authority because it's lived, tested, and refined. It doesn't ask for recognition. It doesn't require applause. It simply stands there, undeniable, marking every year survived not with weakness, but with evidence of persistence, clarity, and quiet dominance that the world cannot ignore, and those who feared your potential cannot. Contain time doesn't wait for anyone, but people act like it does. They plan, postpone, bargain, and distract themselves as though the hours and years will stretch endlessly, forgiving every delay, excusing every hesitation, allowing them to remain safe in the illusion of potential. But potential is meaningless without action. Age doesn't lie. It counts everything. Even the moments you think are invisible, the nights you hide behind excuses, the days you let pass pretending tomorrow will fix what today ignored. And that is why they cried last night, not because of the number, but because they realized your years aren't wasted, they are sharpened, accumulated, honed into something unavoidable. People fear your age because it's a reminder of inevitability. They see the weight of your experience and the quiet strength it carries. Age is a ledger, telling not just time but survival, choices made under pressure, lessons endured in solitude. Every year you've lived has layered understanding over instinct, patience over impulsiveness, insight over ignorance. And those who thought you would fade, who assumed your influence would weaken, wake up panicked when they realize that time has done the opposite. It has given you form, clarity, and power they cannot replicate, and they know it. They cried because age is impartial. It does not favor youth or circumstance. It does not reward excuses or charm. Time simply records every hesitation, every avoidance, every surrender. Every night spent hiding in comfort is noted, and every risk taken, every challenge met, every discomfort endured builds into an invisible arsenal that they cannot see until it manifests in your presence, in your confidence, in the undeniable reality that you are more than their assumptions allowed. Age exposes both weakness and strength, and they are afraid because they see which one you chose to cultivate. People try to rationalize your growth. They say luck, timing, connections, coincidences, anything to avoid confronting the truth, that discipline, endurance, and persistence matter more than circumstances, that the quiet work done when no one is watching compounds faster than the noise people create to look busy. They cry because your age proves this truth empirically, tangibly, in ways they cannot dispute, in ways that feel personal, because it exposes their own lack of preparation, their own refusal to face the relentless passage of time as a call to action rather than a threat. Time is relentless, and it demands accountability. Each year you age is another checkpoint, another marker that asks, what have you built? What have you learned? How have you responded to adversity? The world assumes you will forget the questions, but age remembers. Age doesn't forgive. And when they cried last night, it wasn't about sympathy or malice. It was the recognition that time sees all. And your record is inviolable because you chose to engage with it rather than run from it. They feared because your age speaks in ways words cannot. It speaks in posture, in calmness under pressure, in the quiet assurance that comes from experience lived fully rather than measured by others' expectation. It communicates lessons absorbed without boasting, strength accumulated without performance, wisdom distilled through trial, error, and persistence. And for those who resisted the discipline of time, seeing that manifestation of life they thought they could outrun is destabilizing, almost unbearable. Because it reflects everything they denied themselves. They cried. Because time can't be argued with. The years you carry cannot be stolen, diminished, or faked. They are tangible proof of endurance, proof that you survived when the world expected you to fold, proof that obstacles didn't break you, proof that preparation in silence counts more than noise in public. Age does not need explanation. It simply exists as a statement. And that statement is what unsettled them. They realized that no amount of complaint, doubt, or disbelief could erase what you had quietly built year after year. Time rewards action, consistency, and courage. Those who cry about your age see this, consciously or unconsciously. They feel the sting of comparison because their own timelines are littered with hesitation, compromise, and avoidance. Your age is a mirror, reflecting their unrealized potential, their wasted opportunities, their unclaimed victories. And mirrors are dangerous when someone else has learned to read them. Honestly, people cry not because they hate your age, not because they fear you personally, but because your years have become evidence that survival is deliberate, growth is intentional, and endurance is transformative. Every night of reflection, every moment of quiet struggle, every year of persistence becomes visible when someone refuses to hide from time. And that visibility is uncomfortable for those who prefer illusions over preparation, distractions over discipline, comfort over confrontation, because your age is now a measure of inevitability they cannot rewrite, and a silent challenge they cannot ignore. Endurance isn't a gift, it's a practice. Most people think survival is a matter of luck, circumstance, or chance, but the truth is far less flattering and far more precise. Every day you push through when others collapse. Every night you stare at your own doubts instead of hiding from them. Every challenge you face without applause builds a strength that is undeniable, inevitable, and quietly terrifying to those who thought time would weaken you. People cry not because they hate your age, not because it's unfair, but because it proves what they've avoided. Acknowledging that survival is intentional and you've mastered it. Endurance teaches lessons no one else can. It shapes character in ways that comfort cannot touch. While others chase fleeting approval, you've been refining patience, persistence, and resilience in silence. The people crying last night recognized that the years you carry aren't empty. They're full of battles fought alone, mistakes confronted without excuses, nights spent recalibrating instead of complaining. Every wrinkle, every scar, every line on your face whispers that you've endured what they cannot even imagine enduring. And that realization is painful to witness. The thing about endurance is that it accumulates power. People often underestimate it because it's subtle. It doesn't roar. It doesn't demand attention, but it builds quietly, invisibly, inexorably. The quiet moments, the ones spent when no one is watching, compound into something monumental. And when others see it, they panic, cry, or try to rationalize it, because it exposes their own neglect. They see that your time wasn't wasted, that your struggles weren't excuses, that your silence wasn't idleness. Endurance manifests, and suddenly, what they hoped would fade quietly has become unavoidable. Endurance also reveals truth. It exposes weaknesses, not to shame, but to challenge. It forces reflection on who you are when nobody is applauding, when nobody is judging, when nobody is keeping score. People cry because they see a life lived deliberately, and they cannot reconcile it with their own passivity. They fear that your years are proof that choice persistence, and self-discipline matter more than charm, luck, or convenience. Endurance becomes visible in posture, confidence, and the quiet control you maintain when chaos swirls around others. Most people fear endurance because it reflects their avoidance. It shouts, you had time, you had opportunity, you had the ability to act, and yet you didn't. Seeing someone survive, thrive, and accumulate power over time forced them to confront their own failure to engage with life seriously. That confrontation triggers emotion. It triggers tears. It triggers panic. And it's not personal. It's accountability made physical. Age and endurance together do not lie. Endurance requires confrontation with fear. People spend their lives avoiding what scares them, convincing themselves that delay is safety. But delay is weakness. Real strength is moving forward in spite of doubt, in spite of uncertainty, in spite of every voice inside and outside that insists it's too late, too hard, too risky. Your age demonstrates that you didn't just survive time, you leveraged it, you endured it, you learned from it, and witnessing that, others feel the sting of missed opportunity, the hollowness of inaction, and the pressure of unclaimed potential. The people who cry about your age are not crying about you, they're crying about themselves. They see what's possible, what they've ignored, what they could have achieved if only they had chosen endurance over convenience, courage over comfort, persistence over procrastination. Your age becomes a mirror, reflecting every evasion they've made, every shortcut they've taken, every moment they've pretended that tomorrow would fix today. And mirrors are dangerous when someone else has learned to read them. Honestly, endurance shapes legacy before recognition. People misunderstand it because they seek immediate results, applause, or validation. Endurance doesn't offer that. It accumulates quietly, building a presence, a command, a weight that cannot be ignored when it finally appears. And your age demonstrates this weight. It shows that what's built over time cannot be stolen, denied, or dismissed. It becomes evidence of mastery over yourself, over circumstance, and over the very clock that others cry to when they realize it doesn't forgive. Survival and endurance also demand honesty. You cannot endure without facing yourself repeatedly. You cannot grow stronger without confronting your limitations, mistakes, fears, and stubbornness. And the people who cried last night see this reflected in you, the calm certainty, the quiet authority, the sense that you've been tested and passed while they've only watched or waited. That reflection terrifies them because it exposes their own avoidance and forces recognition of what real engagement with life produces. Endurance combined with age becomes unstoppable. It's proof that time doesn't diminish those who engage with it. It strengthens them. People cry not because they wish harm, not because they hate, but because they cannot reconcile your presence with. Their inaction cannot unsee the evidence of your growth and cannot escape the truth that living deliberately over years produces something undeniable, something unavoidable, something terrifying to those who assume time would diminish instead of refine. Experience isn't given, it's earned, and it doesn't ask permission. People look at age like it's a number, a measure of decay, a countdown, but they fail to see the accumulation beneath it. Every day lived fully, every risk taken when others hesitated, every failure confronted without excuses, stacks quietly into something enormous, something undeniable. Experience builds muscle in places people cannot see, muscles of patience, perception, endurance, and subtle dominance. That's what unsettled them last night when they cried. Not because they hate your age, but because it speaks of something they never earned and cannot replicate. Experience is relentless. It exposes who you are when no one is watching. People cry because your years have been filled with moments that demand more than comfort, more than convenience, more than excuses. Every choice you made, every hardship you endured, every decision you confronted directly added to the weight of presence you now carry. And that presence is heavy because it's real, it's tangible, and it moves through the world without begging for recognition. Those who underestimated you wake up panicked because they realize time did not diminish you, it refined you. Experience also rewires perception. Age becomes a lens through which the world is understood differently. You see patterns, intentions, consequences, and opportunities that the untested cannot recognize. While others cry, you operate with subtle authority because your years have shown you what matters and what doesn't. Experience teaches that noise is irrelevant, distractions are temporary, and people's doubts are a reflection of their limitations, not yours. That clarity makes them uncomfortable because it's an unspoken challenge. They realize they can't match the weight of knowledge you've quietly amassed. They cried because experience highlights endurance and consequence. Life tests everyone, but not everyone answers. Some retreat, some rationalize, some numb themselves to pain and responsibility. Experience accumulates from answers, from confrontation, from refusing to let circumstances dictate behavior. And when they look at you, they see someone who answered, someone who transformed adversity into understanding, someone whose age is not a burden, but a ledger of victories, lessons, and resilience that cannot be ignored. Experience is not flashy. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand applause. It moves quietly, invisibly, like a river carving canyons over centuries. People cry when they notice that river because they realize they've been standing on dry land, pretending the world shapes itself around them. Your age, your presence, your quiet authority reveals the effort they avoided, the lessons they skipped, the growth they postponed, and that revelation is painful because it is undeniable, exact, and impartial. Experience forces confrontation with reality. It shows what fear cannot erase, what hesitation cannot protect, and what denial cannot hide. People cry because your age proves that time is impartial and you chose to engage with it rather than evade it. Each year becomes evidence of mastery over circumstance, endurance of struggle, and accumulation of wisdom. And that evidence unsettles those who measured time by comfort instead of action, by avoidance instead of confrontation, by illusions instead of effort. Experience also communicates through presence. Your posture, your decisions, your calm in chaos, your refusal to be rattled by doubt, all of these speak louder than explanations or excuses. People who cry last night see not just your age, but the authority it carries. They see that you've been tested and survived repeatedly, that your judgment is informed by trials they refused, that your resilience is built on foundations they cannot touch. That realization triggers discomfort, envy, and fear because it reminds them of the life they did not build. Experience becomes unstoppable when paired with intention. Age without engagement is a number, but age with deliberate action becomes a weapon, a shield, a signal. Your years reflect deliberate choices, conscious effort, and repeated confrontation with difficulty. People cry because they see that combination in you and cannot reconcile it with their own inaction. They see that what they expected to diminish you has instead made you undeniable, inevitable, and unavoidable. Experience does not wait for validation. It accumulates quietly, shapes silently, teaches lessons relentlessly. Age becomes proof that growth is not optional, that engagement matters more than circumstance, that persistence outweighs convenience. And when others see it, it unsettles them. They cry not because of envy alone, but because they are confronted with the truth that time rewards those who endure, act, and learn, and punishes those who do not. And your age proves the principle in a way that cannot be ignored. Denied or undone presence is a weapon most people underestimate. They confuse being seen with being heard, being visible with being relevant, moving with achieving, but presence is quieter, heavier, more deliberate. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't beg attention. It sits in the room, layered with all the things time has taught you, all the endurance you've built, all the decisions you've survived, and suddenly it becomes undeniable. People cried last night because they recognized your presence as proof of something they cannot manufacture, a manifestation of years lived intentionally, a force they can only watch from the sidelines. Presence accumulates. It's not a single act, a moment, or a decision. It's every choice you've made that refused distraction, every night spent confronting discomfort, every challenge faced while others avoided confrontation. Each act, each decision, each moment of resilience adds to it. By the time you step into a room, your presence is more than posture or voice. It's a gravitational pull. People cry because they feel it. They feel the weight of preparation, endurance, and intentionality concentrate in someone who refuses to be ordinary. Presence also exposes truth. People cry because they see themselves reflected in it, the parts they ignored, the potential they wasted, the courage they lacked. Presence does not lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't accommodate delusion. When you walk into a space carrying years of intentional living, endurance, and hard-won wisdom, the mirror it holds up is unflinching. Those who preferred comfort over confrontation, delay over action, illusion over engagement, feel the sting immediately, and it manifests as tears, frustration, envy, panic, or all of the above. People confuse presence with confidence, but it's not about showing off or performing. Confidence can be faked. Presence cannot. Presence comes from internal alignment. It comes from the discipline of enduring challenges without recognition, from surviving when nobody noticed, from making decisions under pressure when every option felt like a risk. It is the culmination of time leveraged correctly, not charm, luck, or circumstance, and that reality terrifies those who assumed your age or appearance would be irrelevant, because presence cannot be ignored, misread, or diminished. Presence demands attention without asking for it. It forces recognition, not by shouting, but by being unavoidable. People cry because they cannot pretend it doesn't exist. It exists in the way you move, in the subtle authority in your eyes, in the calm precision of decision-making, in the quiet command that comes from having seen enough, survived enough, and endured enough to understand that the world bends subtly, inevitably, to those who refuse to be distracted by its trivialities. Presence also exposes lack of preparation in others. People cry because they realize that while you were cultivating endurance, insight, and discipline, they were counting days, avoiding risk, chasing comfort, or waiting for circumstances to shape them. The contrast between a life deliberately lived and a life carelessly endured is impossible to ignore. Presence makes that gap visible, palpable, undeniable, and when they see it, they cannot unsee it. Presence is cumulative, a silent proof of mastery over time and self. Each year, each struggle, each quiet night of preparation adds layers to it. It grows heavier as it becomes inseparable from who you are. People cry because they feel the density of it, the inevitability that comes from consistent action, and the reality that your authority isn't borrowed, it's earned. It unsettles because it reflects what they chose not to do, what they postponed, what they ignored. And they recognize the opportunity they abandoned. Presence isn't reactive, it's deliberate. It's shaped by choices, honed by endurance, tempered by adversity. People cry because they sense the difference between someone who exists by accident and someone who exists by design. Your presence, forged over years of deliberate engagement with life, confronts every shortcut they took, every hesitation, every moment they wasted pretending the world would wait for them to catch up. That confrontation manifests as disbelief, frustration, and tears' presence carries inevitability. It's proof that when time is used intentionally, when endurance is cultivated privately, when lessons are absorbed fully, no external chaos can diminish it. People cry because they realize your presence is unstoppable, grounded, undeniable, and it is a living record of everything they avoided, everything they postponed, and everything they were too afraid to become. It's a force that waits for no one, bends for no one, and silently demands recognition from those who underestimate. The power of years lived deliberately presence is proof, evidence, and challenge all at once. People cry because it holds up the mirror they never wanted to see, exposes the work they refused to do, and demonstrates that the quiet accumulation of action, endurance, and intention over time creates something far heavier, sharp, and more consequential than luck, charm, or circumstance ever could. And that force is standing there, unmistakable, undeniable, waiting for them to accept that they can't erase it, ignore it, or diminish it. You ever notice how life has this way of testing you right before something big happens? It's almost like the universe, or whatever's up there, has a sick sense of humor. Just when you think you've had enough, just when you're about to throw in the towel, things get worse. A little more weight on your shoulders, a little more fire under your feet. And you start wondering, is this all some kind of joke? Is there even a point? You ever notice how right when you think life can't get any worse, it does? Oh, it doesn't just get worse, it gets creative. Throws in a little extra pain, a little more chaos, just to see how much you can take. And the funny thing is, most people think that means they're losing, that they're cursed, forgotten, abandoned. But what if I told you that's the moment things are actually getting good? See, life doesn't hand out rewards for free. No. It's got to make sure you're ready. And the only way to really know if someone's ready for something big, pressure, hardships, the kind of pain that makes you question everything. Because anybody can smile when things are easy. Anybody can be grateful when life is handing them gifts. But when life starts taking, when it strips you down to nothing, makes you fight for every inch, that's when you find out who you really are. Maybe you've noticed it. The moment you start dreaming bigger, life starts hitting harder. You decide you want something more, something better, and suddenly everything around you seems to fall apart. Relationships crack, money dries up, people you trusted, gone. And you sit there thinking, why is this happening to me? The real question is, what's coming that I need to be ready for? Because life's got this pattern. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it. Right before people step into something great, life drags them through something awful every single time. The stronger the storm, the bigger the blessing waiting on the other side. But most people don't make it there. No, they break down, they quit, they start blaming everything and everyone, and that's the trick, that's the test. See, pressure does one of two things. It destroys the weak, or it sharpens the strong. And life's just waiting to see which one you are. That's why the hits keep coming. Not because you're being punished, but because you're being prepared. It's carving away the doubts, the fears, the bad habits. It's forcing you to grow into someone who can actually handle what's next. And, the irony of it all. Because the very thing that makes people quit is the same thing that was meant to push them forward. You ever see a fighter train for a big match? They don't sit around relaxing, waiting for the bell to ring. No, they get hit, they get bruised, they bleed. They take pain and turn it into power. And when the fight really starts, they're ready. That's what life is doing to you, throwing you into training, breaking you down, making you tougher, stronger, sharper. Because you can't carry something big with weak hands. You can't handle a new level of life while still holding on to old fears. And so, here comes the storm. Here comes the chaos. And it's not trying to stop you, it's trying to build you. But most people, they don't see it like that. No, they see the struggle and think, maybe I should just give up. Maybe they weren't meant for more. Maybe life's just unfair. Oh, and life just laughs. Because the joke's on them. They were right there, right on the edge of something huge, and they let the pressure scare them away. But you're different, aren't you? You see the pattern. You recognize the game. You don't just take the hits. You learn from them. You let them mold you, reshape you into someone who doesn't just stronger storm, but walks out of it stronger. And the ones who do that, oh, they don't just get through the fire. They own it. They become it. And when life finally stops testing them, when the storm clears, that's when they see why it was all worth it. You ever notice how people just vanish from your life? Poof, gone. No warning, no explanation, just out the door. Maybe they stop calling, maybe they turn cold, maybe they betray you in ways you never saw coming. And you sit there wondering, what did I do wrong? Oh, but that's the wrong question, isn't it? See, most people think losing someone is a bad thing. They cling, they beg, they chase after people who've already walked away. But what if, just what if, those people were never meant to stay? What if their exit wasn't a loss, but a blessing in disguise? What if life, oh, in all its twisted wisdom, was removing them for a reason? Funny thing about elevation, the higher you go, the less you can take with you. Try climbing a mountain with a heavy bag on your back. You won't get very far. And life? Oh, life's got a way of trimming the weight. Sometimes the very people you thought were your biggest supporters, your closest friends, your ride or die, they were just extra baggage. And when life decides it's time for you to move, they gotta go. Ever notice how some people only stick around when things are bad? Oh, they love when you're struggling, when you're down, when you need them. Makes them feel important. But the second you start growing, the second you start winning, now we got a problem. Suddenly they're distant. Suddenly they don't clap for you anymore. Why? Because some people don't love you, they love having power over you. And when they can't control you anymore, they'd rather leave than support you. And the betrayal? The betrayal always stings the most. Because it's never your enemies that hurt you. It's the ones you trusted. The ones you let in. The ones you never thought would turn. And that's what breaks most people. They see betrayal as a setback, not a reveal. They waste time crying over snakes instead of realizing life just exposed them for you. And now that you see them, you can stop feeding them. But oh, most people don't get it. No. They sit in the wreckage, trying to fix relationships that were never real to begin with. They hold on to ghosts, trying to revive something that was already dead. But tell me, when someone shows you who they are, how many times do you need to see it before you believe them? The truth is, losing people isn't punishment, it's protection. You think you need them, but you don't. If they were meant to stay, nothing could have pulled them away. And if they left, if they betrayed you, if they disappeared the moment things changed, it just means they never belonged in your next chapter. And life doesn't make mistakes. It clears the path for you. It removes distractions. It exposes the fake so you can make room for the real. But most people, they fight it. They hold on, not realizing that sometimes the best thing that can ever happen to you is losing the wrong people. You ever notice how people love to play games? Oh, not the fun kind, not the ones with cards and dice. No. I'm talking about the ones where they pretend. Pretend they care. Pretend they're on your side. Pretend they got your back. They smile at you, shake your hand, tell you they're proud of you, all while sharpening the knife behind their back, waiting for the perfect moment to stick it in. And the best part? They think you don't see it. They think you're blind to it. They think they're winning. But here's the thing about masks. Sooner or later, they slip. See, you can pretend for a while, sure. You can play the part, put on the show, convince the whole world, but nobody can act forever. Because pressure does something funny to people. It cracks them open like a cheap vase, spills out everything they've been trying so hard to hide. And when that moment comes, it's beautiful. Because then you don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to ask yourself, are they real or are they just playing a role? They show you, all by themselves. Now, most people, they get shocked when this happens. Oh no, I can't believe they would do that to me. I thought we were close. I trusted them. Like it wasn't obvious. Like the signs weren't always there. 'Cause let's be honest, deep down, you knew. You felt it, that little voice in your head. Yeah, the one you ignored, the one whispering something's off. Something doesn't feel right, but no. You gave them the benefit of the doubt. You made excuses. Oh, maybe they didn't mean it like that. Maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. People love to lie to themselves. Love to pretend they didn't see what was right in front of their eyes the whole time. Because the truth is ugly. The truth means you have to accept that the people you trusted, the people you loved, were never really with you. They were just using you. They were waiting for their moment. And when they thought they had you right where they wanted, that's when they strike. But life's funny, because just when they think they got away with it, just when they think their little game worked, something happens. Something shifts. And suddenly, they start losing. Suddenly, things aren't going their way. Suddenly, everything they thought was in their control slips right through their fingers. And you? Oh, you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to lift a finger. Because when the time is right, everything falls into place on its own. You see, some people don't need to be exposed. They expose themselves. They dig their own graves, set their own traps, walk right into their own downfall. All you gotta do is sit back and watch. Because when the moment comes, when everything crumbles around them, when all their lies start to unravel, that's when you realize they were never winning. They were just running out of time. And you finally get to see the truth. You get to see who was real, who was fake, who was just there to take advantage of your kindness. You get to see who was meant to stay in your life and who was just passing through like a shadow. And you don't even have to ask yourself what to do next. Because once the masks fall off, once the truth is staring you right in the face, the decision makes itself. Do you ever notice how people like to think they're in control? Oh, they love it. The power, the illusion, the idea that they hold all the strings and everyone else, just puppets, dancing to their little tune. They smile, shake hands, play nice, until you stop playing your part. That's when things get interesting. That's when you see the real them. See, most people, they don't like when the game changes. They like things predictable, nice and easy. But life doesn't take orders. It doesn't follow a script. And when something bigger steps in, when the pieces start moving in ways they didn't expect, oh, you should see their faces. The confusion, the frustration, the panic. Because suddenly, they're not the ones calling the shots anymore. Suddenly, they're not winning like they thought they were. And when that happens, oh, they hate it. Now, some people, they fight it. Oh, they'll do everything they can to claw their way back to the top, back to where they think they belong. They'll scheme, they'll lie, they'll manipulate, just trying to hold on a little longer. And for a while, it might even look like they're getting away with it, like their tricks are still working. But here's the thing, there's always a limit, a point where their little house of cards comes crashing down. And when it does, oh, they never see it coming. See, you might think you're losing, that everything's slipping away, that you don't stand a chance, but sometimes things are just being set up, moved around, arranged, and you don't even have to do a thing. You just wait, you watch, because when the moment comes, when the ones who thought they were untouchable start to fall, that's when you realize they were never as powerful as they wanted you to believe. It's funny, isn't it, how people will spend years pretending, hiding, putting on a show, only for everything to unravel in the end. And the best part? They do it to themselves. They think they can control every move, control every person, control you. But they forget one little detail. Some things are out of their hands. Some things have a way of working out, no matter how hard they try to stop it. They can play their games, tell their lies, pull their little tricks. Let them. Let them think they're winning. Let them think they've got it all figured out. Because when the moment comes, when the truth comes knocking, when everything they thought was theirs starts slipping away, that's when you'll see it. That's when you'll understand. That's when everything will finally make sense. You ever notice how people love to rush things? Oh, they hate waiting. They want everything now, fast, instant, like a magic trick. Snap your fingers and there it is. But that's not how things work, is it? No. Some things take time. Some things have to be built piece by piece, step by step. And the funny part, the longer it takes, the less they believe it's ever going to happen. See, people start out all excited, all hopeful. They've got plans, dreams, visions of what their life's going to look like. And at first, oh, they believe. They really believe. But then, nothing happens. Not right away. The days stretch into weeks, the weeks into months, and before you know it, they're looking around, wondering if they've been played, if they're waiting for something that's never coming. And that's when the doubt creeps in, that little voice in the back of their head whispering, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you were wrong. Maybe you should just give up. And that's where most people fold. They throw in the towel, walk away, tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. But here's the thing. What if they were this close? What if everything was lining up, shifting, moving into place, and they just couldn't see it? What if they walked away right before the big moment, right before everything was about to change? It's funny, really. They spend so much time looking for signs, for proof that things are working out. But the second things don't go their way, they decide it's over. Like patience doesn't even exist. Like waiting is some kind of punishment. But maybe it's part of the process. Maybe it's the test. Because anybody can keep believing when things are easy, when everything's going right. But when nothing makes sense, when you feel like you're stuck, forgotten, left behind, that's when you see who's really got faith and who is just pretending. And oh, you should see the way people act when they're desperate. The deals they make, the shortcuts they take, the way they force things to happen. They think they're being smart, think they're getting ahead. But you ever notice how those kinds of moves always seem to come back to bite? Oh, not right away. No. At first, it looks like they got away with it, like they won. But then the cracks start to show, the walls start closing in, and before they know it, they're right back where they started, only now they've got a mess to clean up. See, the truth is, most people don't know how to wait. They don't know how to sit back and trust that things are happening behind the scenes. That just because they can't see progress doesn't mean it's not there. It's like a seed under the dirt. You don't see it growing, you don't see the roots spreading, but one day, boom, there it is. Bigger, stronger, more real than you ever expected. But you don't get to that moment if you give up too soon. If you panic, if you doubt, if you start tearing everything apart because you think nothing's happening. That's the joke. That's the real trick. Most people could have what they're waiting for if only they'd wait a little longer. If only they'd trust that the delay isn't a no, it's a not yet. You ever notice how people always want a guarantee? They want to know for sure that what they're doing is going to pay off. They need a little sign, a little whisper, something to tell them, yes, you're on the right track. Keep going. And if they don't get that, oh, that's when the real fun begins. That's when they start second-guessing, doubting, unraveling right in front of your eyes. And the best part? They don't even realize that the silence is the sign. See, when things go quiet, that's when people panic. They think if they were really headed somewhere, really moving towards something big, they'd feel it. But that's not how it works, is it? No. The biggest things, they don't come with sirens and flashing lights, no announcements, no warning, they just happen. But people, oh, they want a parade. They want a full-blown spectacle, something obvious, something undeniable. And if they don't get that, well, they start thinking nothing's happening at all. You ever watch someone dig for gold? Oh, it's hilarious. They start out all eager, full of energy, ready to strike it rich. But after a while, when they don't see results, what do? They stop, they put down the shovel, shake their heads, tell themselves there's nothing here, and they walk away, completely unaware that if they had just kept digging for a few more inches, they would have hit everything they were looking for. That's what happens, isn't it? People give up right before the good part. They let frustration, fear, doubt, doubt, that's a nasty little thing, convince them that waiting is the same as wasting time. But the truth is, most people don't lose. They leave. They walk away too soon. They back down too early. They quit before the moment that would have changed everything. And the best part? They'll never know how close they actually were. Oh, but the real joke is that sometimes the wait isn't just about time. It's about you. You think you're waiting on something to happen, but maybe, just maybe, that something is waiting on you. Maybe you're not quite ready yet. Maybe you're still too impatient, too reckless, too distracted. Maybe there are lessons you haven't learned, mistakes you still need to make, experiences you need to survive before you're strong enough to handle what's coming. Because if you're not careful, if you rush it, if you try to take what isn't ready, what isn't yours yet, well, you might just end up ruining the very thing you were meant to have. People don't like hearing that, though. No, they want to believe they're ready now, that they should have it now. They don't want to hear that they still have work to do. But that's how it goes. You don't hand a child a loaded gun, do you? No, no, no. You wait until they understand what it means to hold something with that much power. Because blessings, real blessings, they come with weight. They come with responsibility. And if you can't handle it, if you don't have the discipline, the patience, the wisdom to carry it, it'll crush you. So maybe, just maybe, the silence isn't punishment. Maybe the waiting isn't a game. Maybe the delay isn't some cruel trick being played on you. Maybe it's protection. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe what's coming is so big, so good, that if you got it too soon, it wouldn't feel like a blessing at all. Maybe what you think is a sign of nothing happening is actually the most important part of the whole thing, because when things are quiet, that's when the real work is happening. That's when the pieces are shifting, when things are moving behind the scenes in ways you can't even imagine. But most people won't see that. Most people will walk away, throw their hands in the air, tell themselves it was never meant for them. And those people? Oh, those people will never know what they missed. They'll never know what was waiting for them, just on the other side of their patience.